Many thought what we needed was a common foe, an enemy that could unite us in a common fight. That enemy arrived in the form of a deadly virus, invisible, undiscerning, and divisive. And instead of uniting us, it drove us further apart. As we begin a new year, a new chapter in Washington, how do we rediscover our shared bonds? Marc Morial is the president of the National Urban League and the former mayor of New Orleans. He also wrote the book, The Gumbo Coalition, about his time as mayor, bridging the divides between different races and business leaders and activists. Marc, it's good to see you. I think this conversation is so important, not just on cable television. It's important at our family tables. And it's not just about immigration versus closed borders, masks versus no masks, or who you voted for president. It's really about why we think we're so different than our neighbors. How do we bridge that divide?
First of all, Contessa, Happy New Year to you, and a great thanks to CNBC for having me this evening. To bridge the divide requires an acknowledgement that the divisions that we face are rooted in the nation's legacy of racial injustice. And that legacy of racial injustice is a legacy that must be confronted and addressed in public policy, in courageous conversations, in boardrooms. What it's given us is a deep economic divide. What it's given us is a fissure in our politics. We will not, if you will, heal the divide by hoping or pretending that it goes away. We will not heal the divide by simply discussions and conversations. It's going to require action to address the deep-seated disparities that exist in health, in economics, and education. I think what we saw in 2021, very importantly, at the ballot box, a rejection of the direction of the country if you look at the popular vote in the presidential race. That doesn't mean we unite the country. It does mean that a majority of Americans want a different approach. They want a different direction. They voted for different leadership. When the nation unseats an incumbent president, it's rare. And when they unseat an incumbent president, it's a referendum on the direction of the country. It is my hope that Joe Biden will bring not only a different tone, not only a different measure of conversation, but different policies, the enforcement of civil rights laws, the recognition that poor Americans and hardworking Americans are Black and white and they're Hispanic and they're Asian, and they've got to be lifted up. A recognition that health disparities and economic disparities have to be confronted head on and addressed in a substantive and meaningful way. It's going to take leadership in corporate America, among labor leaders, faith leaders, civil rights leaders like myself, but it's got to be based on a substantive shift in what we're doing as a nation. And it also requires an understanding that this nation, at its very essence, is multicultural, it's pluralistic, it's based on a set of shared values. And if those values are going to work in the 21st century, those opportunities, that access has to be available to all.
It sounds like the subject that could be a very moving speech or a sermon on Sunday, and certainly a conversation that needs to happen, as I said, at dinner tables around the nation. Marc, it's good to talk to you. I'm just wondering, do you have one piece of advice for entering this new year? One thing that people could take with them?
I think everyone needs to reach out to a new friend, to a new ally. I think everyone must get to know someone they don't know. We need to be cross-racial. We need to be cross-cultural. But we also need to commit to educate ourselves far better on why the pain, why the difficulty is so present in America. So I'm hopeful for 2021, but I don't think it's going to be an easy road for this nation. But I do believe that there are many who want to work to end racism, to end religious bigotry, who want to end, if you will, the divide. And that doesn't mean we will not have differences of opinion and policy and approach. But it does mean that our politics cannot be a zero-sum game. It cannot be a win-at-all-costs mentality. and that the legacy that this nation has to be addressed.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.